Hey guys, so today I'm going to walk you through 3 Haunted Mansion inspired crafts. I did these last year actually for the Boo Ball swap. I sent all of these to my friend Heather over at the Disney Housewife and I filmed them, but I did not have time to roll out the video before Halloween was over. So I saved it for this year. Anyway, let's jump into this tutorial. So this first tutorial is really simple. I started off with this black lantern that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. And then I used my silhouette machine to cut out some vinyl. The first one says 999 Happy Haunts. That's going to go on the very front. And then I will tell you guys, the smaller your font is, the harder this is. And I was working with really not the best vinyl. So as always, use the quality stuff. It's a lot easier in the end. Also, you're going to want to make sure that you've wiped off this glass so that it is ultra clean. Vinyl always sticks a lot better when it is a clean surface. So I'm only going to show you guys just kind of like how I did this, but I did end up cutting out also the silhouettes of each of the stretching portraits. If I can find how I traced those, I will put that in the description box, but I just kind of searched like stretching portrait silhouettes and it did take me a good bit to find it. So if I can save you that time, I will. So I put on the door that opens, I put 999 Happy Haunts, and then on the very back window, I put but there's always room for one more, and then on the other 4 windows I put the stretching portraits. I will tell you guys, if you see how I'm struggling, it's because of the vinyl that I'm using. I don't even remember what brand this is because I used it so long ago, but once it's on there, it's fine, but it's like getting it on there that is the struggle. If you don't have a silhouette machine or a Cricut or something like that, you can always purchase vinyl stuff off of Etsy, but this is such a specific thing, I'm not really sure how you could work that out. And as far as alternatives go, for the words, that part's easy. You guys could just use like, letter stickers and number stickers, but as far as the silhouettes go, I'm not really sure if I have an alternative for that. This is what it looked like when I was all done, except for that last window that I saved for the end. And moving on to the next craft. So this one is a picture frame. It's just a wooden picture frame that I picked up from a craft store. I don't even remember which one. I did sand it down and then I spray painted it matte black. You could also use acrylic paint. Spray paint's just so much faster. And once you have it all painted, next we're going to kind of apply the wallpaper, I guess. So I just printed out the highest resolution image of the Haunted Mansion wallpaper that I could. I just Google image searched Haunted Mansion wallpaper background, and this is the one that I found. I'm placing my wooden picture frame onto the back and tracing out the frame so that I know what size to cut it to and also the size of the opening of the frame. You're going to want to cut on the inside of your line, and then for the actual inside insert, you're just going to want to snip a little bit and then obviously remove the center. And then once you have it all cut out, obviously you're going to want to size it and make sure that it all fits. If it hangs over a teeny tiny bit, that's okay, but if it's a lot, you might want to trim it. So I am going to be using Mod Podge to attach this. I believe this is the glossy one, but it's just kind of personal preference. And then I'm using a sponge brush from the Dollar Tree to apply it. So you're going to want to be really generous with this Mod Podge. Like, you don't want a thin coat, you want a pretty thick amount. Because it's going to provide a better adhesive for this paper. And then once you have a nice thick coat, go ahead and press down your wallpaper and you're going to want to really smooth it out. Make sure that there are no air bubbles anywhere, because once they're there, They're really hard to get out. I'm using my scraper tool for my silhouette machine, but if you have a credit card or a gift card, that would also work for this. Just make sure you're gentle because this is paper and you could potentially tear the paper or scratch the paper. And then I'm going around the edges and just kind of folding over the edge and then applying a really generous amount of Mod Podge over the edges as well. I did find a couple air bubbles, so I went back and smoothed those over before doing all of the Mod Podge around the sides. But again, make sure that you fold it over that edge and then just really, really glob on the Mod Podge. And then what I'll do sometimes is take my thumb or my finger and just smush down the paper so that it's more firmly adhered to the frame. I hope I'm making sense. And then you can take some sandpaper if the paper's like bothering you on the edge, and I just kind of sanded mine down a little bit. It actually gave it kind of a nice worn effect, which I thought made it even more Haunted Mansion-like. So I just took my sandpaper and really, really gently sanded down the sides. And that pretty much does it for this Haunted Mansion wallpaper picture frame. This is super easy, guys. Like, this is one of those things where I'm like, why did I not think of this sooner? So the last one that I have for you guys is a Haunted Mansion. I don't know what else to call this other than kind of like a lace dream catcher. So first things first, you're going to start off with these wooden embroidery frames, and I spray painted mine black, and then I'm taking this dollar doily that's black. This is from the section at Michael's that's like when you're standing in line waiting and they want you to buy a few more things. These are like $1.30 or something like that in there. They have black, cream, red, I believe purple, but when I went they didn't have any purple, so I grabbed the black one. Now this is a little bit too small for this 8-inch embroidery hoop. That's the largest size that I'm using, so I do have to stretch the doily, but I've done this before on my channel as like a springtime Mickey Mouse thing. This one's going to be more of a Halloween theme. So next I'm just applying a little dab of hot glue to tack down the edges of this doily. That'll help keep it in place as I place the top portion of the embroidery hoop on it. Don't be too crazy with the hot glue. You really only need a teeny tiny amount because you don't want the hot glue to be in the way when you try to close this embroidery frame hoop. So once you have that all tacked down, I'm just checking the Mickey ears, and now I'm going in with my top piece of my 8-inch embroidery hoop and adding that on top, and then I'm just going to tighten that little screw on the top to make sure that it's really secure. Now I'm putting my screw on the bottom because I knew that my ribbons would cover it up, and then these are my top two pieces. Now for the top Mickey ears, I did remove the middle inserts. I'm only using the outer inserts because I liked the sizing of them for ears more so. And you really don't need them to be double layered. Now I'm adding a very generous amount of hot glue and firmly pressing this down onto the 8-inch embroidery hoop. By the way, these smaller hoops are the 4-inch embroidery hoops. So you'll need an 8-inch and two 4-inch. and then I'm doing the exact same thing on the other side. As far as spacing goes, I would say put about 3.5 inches between each ear. And then you do want to let the glue completely dry. If you're worried about the ears being totally secure, you could also do some E6000 and hot glue. That would give you a more long-term hold. And then I picked up these flowers from the Dollar Tree. They're like their Halloween purple and black roses. They're so pretty and surprisingly high quality looking. And I'm just doing a flower crown at the top to kind of be like Constance's bouquet. These also came with, they also have some black roses at the Dollar Tree. So I decided to do a pattern of like purple, black, just to get that Haunted Mansion feel. Now I know the back of this is not the most beautiful, but because this is designed to hang on the wall, I wasn't super worried about it. And this is what it looked like once I had all the flowers on. Now we're going to move on to the ribbon that I'm going to be attaching on the bottom. So I'll be using this lacy, sparkly black ribbon. I'm sorry guys, I don't remember what store I got this from. I just kind of had it in my supply, but I thought it was so beautiful and perfect for Haunted Mansion. So it is a little bit wider, so I'm actually going to fold it to fit it through the holes of this doily, and then I'm going to wrap it around the bottom, and then I will be hot gluing it into place. The reason I'm putting this one on first is one, to get my center mark so that I can keep it relatively symmetrical as I'm working, and two, because I want to make sure that I cover up this screw on the bottom and don't end up with a weird gap that shows it. I kind of had trouble fitting this part in frame, but as far as length goes, that's totally up to you guys. I believe mine were about 2.5 feet long, but I just used that initial piece of ribbon to gauge the rest of my ribbon, and then at the end I trimmed up the ones that were a little bit too long. So I only had enough for 2 pieces of the black. I was kind of sad because I thought I had enough for 3 and I was wrong. And next I'm moving on to this purple ribbon. This one is from Hobby Lobby. I know that for a fact. And they have it in a couple colors, but I loved the texture to it. That's what's really pretty about these, is that you can really make it look different just based on the textures that you choose. Like my springtime one is the same method, but it's very, very different looking. I'll have that video linked in a card above and below for you guys. And then I just kind of continued on with other ribbons that were coordinated to this, including a Haunted Mansion ribbon that I picked up off Etsy. Now, you don't get very much ribbon, but it was only $5, and it had the hitchhiking ghosts on it, which was perfection. So I do end up adding 3 strands of this to the quote-unquote lace dream catcher. So that pretty much does it for this decor piece. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I love decorating for Halloween. This gift actually ended up being sent to my friend Heather over at the Disney Housewife last Halloween, but I wasn't able to roll this tutorial out last year, so I saved it. Let me know what you guys thought of this, and should I do another version of this, maybe for Christmas? Let me know what you guys think. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.